So here's our simulated DADGAD tuning. I'm actually not in DADGAD, which is basically D sus tuning. This is E sus tuning. It's just up a whole step. It sounds like this. What I've done here is I've taken a regular clamp-on style capo, and then I've raised a piece of it by just folding this piece of paper in here. And I measured the distance from the A string to the G string. So I'm just including A, D, and G, and you can see on there that it's just pressing down those 3 strings, and the other ones are left a ring open. Now the cool part about that is you have this cool DADGAD kind of sounds where you can do cool hammer-ons and things like that, but when you start moving up the neck, since it's actually in standard tuning still, the shapes are the same. One of the things about DADGAD a lot of people do is kind of use the open strings to use hammer-ons. Kind of in the little piece I was just playing a second ago. Let me just show you some hammer-on spots that sound cool. Use those spots on the graph to kind of just, put together some chords using those shapes. So to get kind of like an E sound, just put your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. You can also have this shape here for a nice E chord. But then for kind of like a B7 chord, you kind of can play this A7 shape. And it has like this nice cool suspended sound. So you got the E, B7, E. All right, simulated drop D. Now this one's really easy to understand. Basically, we're just taking the capo and clipping it on the top 5 strings on the 2nd fret, leaving the open E. And now really this is what you could call drop E with the capo. It's almost like having the E at -2. The cool part about this tuning is when you have the capo across, it's still in standard tuning. So when you go to other chords that you know, like a G chord, A chord, any bar chords will be exactly the same. And that's not something that you'll get in any kind of open tuning. You'd have to relearn all the shapes. Another really useful one that's really similar to the drop D style simulated tuning is where we take the capo up to the 4th fret across the top 5 strings. Same thing, we're leaving the low E string open. In this one you can play stuff using the C shape. And again, the benefit here is that the chord shapes that you already know, bar chord shapes, open chord shapes, are all the same. But now we're going to have this low E to go along with this chord. It gives you some nice cool sounds that you can play around with. It's another cool one to have fun with. All right, here's another one which is almost kind of the reverse of the ones that we just did. It's where we take the capo across the 2nd fret across the bottom 4 strings. And this is useful for playing stuff in F sharp minor, because now we have these nice open strings on the top that ring out nice with these chords. In F sharp minor. Here's some shapes that are going to work really well with this. The E minor shape, the G shape, leaving the high open strings open. Okay, and you can also use any of your other shapes that you know. So like just your regular A chord is going to work nice with this nice coloration here on the top. open string. You can also just play this kind of 2-finger A. Almost sounds like an A5 at that point. You've got this cool D over F sharp shape. And then any of your other chords that you know. C is going to work fine. E minor. And then you can mix those chords around just to kind of write something that sounds a little different than what you normally write. And then if you have 2 capos, you can do that simulated drop D thing, but higher up the neck. So if I take this capo at the 4th fret, this capo at the 2nd fret, now you have a simulated drop F sharp. Now here's the trick if you don't even have a capo. If you have a pencil and some rubber bands, which I actually don't have right now, you can make a capo. So basically you just take your pencil, put it across where you need the capo, and then take the rubber bands around the pencil like this. So it'll hold the pencil in place like this, and then you'll be able to use a capo like this. I'm using my hand because I actually don't have any rubber bands right now, but you get the idea, very simple idea. Playing with capos this style, when you put them on like this, one thing you might notice is it kind of sometimes can get in the way of your hand. It just feels uncomfortable. So what a lot of people will do is they'll actually angle it back, kind of like that. And if you see people doing that, they're not doing anything fancy. They're just getting the capo out of the way of their hand so they can play chords that they're used to playing. Angle that capo.